Hey y'all, I'm Tammy. The cameraman is Chris, my husband, and this is Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like our mamas did. Today we're making my homemade broccoli, cheese, and rice casserole. It is delicious. So we're going to get started, and this is in our Volume 3 cookbook. So we need a half a cup of chopped onion. This is a large onion, so I'm going to use about half of it. And then you're just going to need a few tablespoons of bell pepper, and I've got these little sweet peppers. I didn't have a bell pepper, but this works. This is an amazing recipe, y'all. It's everything's homemade, so you're not using like canned soups and stuff in it. And it is just really good. I get my broccoli fresh and steam it, and so you're not using frozen. But now if you want to take a shortcut and use frozen broccoli, be my guest. And now we're going to chop up this pepper, and you just need a few tablespoons. Now you're going to saute this in 4 tablespoons of butter, and you're going to let this saute till they're nice and soft. Then we'll add it to our casserole. It's going to be good. And we're steaming our broccoli right now. Once this is nice and tender, it's going to be perfect for the casserole. You don't want it falling apart tender. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. And then once we saute these vegetables, we'll start mixing up our casserole. All right, we're going to combine 3 cups of chicken broth. I've got chicken stock with a cup of milk. So we're going to do that first. This should be 4 cups, so we won't quite use it all. Then we're going to put in a cup of milk. Okay. And we're going to sit this over here for our gravy. We're going to grate some cheese right quick. You're going to need 2 cups of cheddar. And it's supposed to be mild, and you're going to use a cup inside the casserole and a cup on top of the casserole. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, if you get you one of these little cheese graters, a friend of ours sent us this, you need to go slow. If you go fast, it'll stop up. So just kind of grate it gradually, and don't get in a hurry, and it'll come out of there. But if you get in a hurry, it just clogs it up, because the cheese is so moist, but it works great. So there's our cheese. You're going to use a cup of rice, and it's just white, long grain, uncooked. And now you're going to put in 1 cup of herb stuffing. So we're going to add a half cup of mayo. And this is a recipe you can make ahead, because it's not an easy recipe, but it's worth the trouble. Let me just tell you that. You're going to use a half cup of sour cream. Half cup of sour cream. We're going to use a half teaspoon of black pepper. And you're going to mix this up. We're going to add the onions and peppers. I'm going to put my cheese in here last. So there goes the onions and peppers. And that delicious butter that was in there with those. It already looks good. Going to add our cup of cheese. Save enough for the top. Now we're going to get over here and make some gravy. Good old gravy. All right. So we're going to turn on our skillet. You're going to put in 4 tablespoons of butter. So the other half stick of your butter you're going to use in your gravy. You used a half stick with the vegetables, and you're using a half stick in your gravy, so a whole half cup of butter is going in the casserole. All right. So as soon as this melts, we are going to brown our flour and make some delicious gravy. Now I've got a gravy whisk that works really good to make gravy, and they're not expensive if you want to go on the website. Now let me tell you something about this gravy. We're going to use 4 tablespoons of butter, which is a 1/4 cup of butter. So then we're going to use a 1/4 cup of flour. When you make gravy, you equal butter and flour, or grease, whatever kind of grease you're using, should equal the same amount of flour if you want a nice gravy. So you're going to have a 1/4 cup of butter, a 1/4 cup of flour. We're going to use some salt, some pepper, some cayenne pepper, and then we're going to use our chicken broth and milk to make this gravy, and it's going to be delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our flour. And you're going to want to brown the flour, because flour is raw and it needs to be cooked. Some people don't know that. They haven't learned it yet, and that's fine, but just know that whenever you make gravy, you should brown the flour. We're going to add some salt, a little bit of pepper, and just a tiny bit of cayenne pepper. I'm not sure how much I call for in the recipe. Let's see. It just says a pinch. So we're going to use a pinch. Pinch of cayenne. And then you're going to let that brown. Oops, I'll get that hot. And once it starts turning good and brown, you're going to add your broth and milk that you mixed up. Now, if for some reason you are too nervous to make this gravy, you can use some cream of chicken soup. But if you do, I would use at least 2 cans. And now you're going to wait until it gets thick. It's not going to get real thick because there's a lot of liquid in here. Now, since we're using uncooked rice, remember that this gravy should not be real thick, because it's going to pull the moisture out of this gravy into that rice while it's cooking in the oven. So if you're wondering why I did make this a thinner gravy, that's why, because it still has to cook the rice. So you're going to bring it to a boil though, and it's not quite there. And then as soon as it comes to a boil, we're going to pour it over our rice mixture. And now we're going to pour the gravy in here. All right, we're going to mix this up, and that cheese is going to melt in there. And now we're going to put in our broccoli. And that's all there is to it. Now we're going to top it with the cheese and get it in the pan. I'm using a large pan, and I think it's equivalent to about a 13 by 9. You want to scrape out your bowl good, get all that in there, help cook that rice. And spread your broccoli out in there good. So everybody gets a bite of broccoli. All right. And now you're going to top it with the rest of your cheese. Now this is a homemade broccoli cheese casserole. from scratch, y'all. We even grated our cheese. And it's going to be delicious. And you can add more cheese if you want to, but that's perfect for us. We're going to get this in the oven. We're going to bake this at 325 degrees for 1 hour. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. And spray that pan good with some Pam or something. All right. It's going to be delicious. All right, it's time to get this broccoli casserole out of the oven and onto the plate. I'm going to dip it while it's cheesy and good. Now this is a really good homemade recipe too that your family is absolutely going to adore. It is kind of a pain to make, but I'm telling you, it's worth every bit of the trouble. It is just delicious. You can see the rice is nice and done. See there? And it's got that pepper in it to give it just a little bit of extra flavor with fresh ingredients. Ooh, it's good. Good, good, good. Good and cheesy too. That is so good, y'all. Your family's gonna love it. Y'all make it this holiday season. I promise everybody will be glad you did. All right? We thank you for watching Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like our mamas did. Y'all come back and see us. Bye, I love ya.
Cooking time, it's over now. Tammy, she just showed you how to cook it up like mama used to do. So go on.